Hello and welcome. Here we are again. It's Tuesday noon, at least in New Mexico. And I know for Marianne, it's way later than noon. It's past dinner time. Oh, no.
Yeah, welcome. And I'm so happy to have another conversation with you. And I'm curious, what are you up about?
I want to share an experience that I had on Saturday. And on Facebook, I saw an image of a cloud of above an Oregon fire that was just huge, humongous. And it shocked me. And I have to admit, I went into drama and drama, oh, Earth, da, 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 da. And then knowing better, I asked the Earth, I said, Earth, what can I contribute? How is that for you? And basically, what the Earth told me, and it's not that it's in words, but I caught an energy of, I've been through worse. Remember Krakatoa? Remember any of the other major volcano eruptions that happened during your lifetime, and not just my lifetime this time, but historically? And I'm still here. So, how much do we do trauma and drama with the fires on the West Coast? And how much is the Earth actually knowing what she's doing or utilizing what is going on in a way that she knows will create more, not only for her, but for everybody? For life, death is making space for life. And if there is one thing I know for sure about the Earth, life protects life, creates life, fosters life. So even though there are deaths, what is the change that is being created through those deaths?
Wow.
Would you be willing to sit with that question?
Wow. 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 The energy of Earth, the potency. And something I can share now with you is while you were telling about your experience,
Hmm?
my back, my back on the other.
Yeah, the side.
Oh, wow, it's really an energy, Corinna, but it started to hurt. And I asked immediately because I know and I'm playing a lot with it because I'm suffering for many years and it's for 90%
Mm-hmm.
better when asking myself what potency am I hiding from myself, from the world. And that came up as you were telling your experience and that back pain, that lower back pain came up. I asked immediately, wow, how is this related with the potency of me that I'm still not acknowledging? Wow. That surprised me in this moment, Corinna. So thank you for sharing this. And
Can
wow,
can I ask you a question?
yeah, you can.
Is the earth asking for a contribution?
Yeah,
And the way to get you to become aware of it is often via some pain in the body, but it doesn't have to do anything with the body. It's the earth's way of asking. And
yeah.
would we be willing, to contribute any energy that the earth requires?
I'm really,
And nothing fancy, is just drop. Oh, I need to be in the picture. Drop your hands, just do this. And I like to do it a little bit lower than in front of my face.
yeah,
But
yeah.
just here is the energy, and just here is the energy. Here is the energy that you're asking for. And I'm willing to contribute to. I mean, how many people? I'm just getting that people are saying, "Oh, wait a second, the Earth is asking for a contribution. The Earth is the Earth. It's people who ask for a contribution." No, Earth is conscious, probably a lot more conscious than we, the people, are, and knows what she's doing or asking for. So if we are willing to contribute whatever the earth is asking for by gifting the energy, that pain that we're feeling, just gifting that kind of energy to the earth, what would
And
that
I'm doing it, or listening to you, I'm doing it, and the
be?
pain is gone. And really, the contribution is also receiving and is
Mhm.
also acknowledging, and it's so much more than, yeah, than whatever we can imagine that it is.
So much more than the
So,
mental stuff.
yeah, yeah, a lot more. And I become more and more aware of the way I also can be with the earth, communicate with the earth.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine that the way the earth is communicating with you is different than with me, and different with everyone. But as you telling, and you received from the earth, and what she was telling you, I could receive also at the same time. But in my case, in this moment, it was like, yeah, for whatever reason I can't figure out, my body, my being as it is now in the moment, is a contribution for the earth, likely for the fires that she's going through.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the invitation that I would like to put out to everybody is that, are you willing to ask the earth about the fires?
Yes, what I get out also by hearing you is how much we go in conclusion and
Mhm.
judgment and right and wrong also. As isn't it that in this reality, fire, whatever fire it is wrong because it's destroying, and truth is it destroying.
Historically, and I actually read some articles that historically there was way more fire than what we have allowed in, for instance, in the California area and Oregon on the West Coast area,
Mm,
um, because that's where the article focused on, due to
yeah.
the fires there. But there was way more fires, which also meant there is way less dead underbrush, which it's cleared out constantly, and you have basically more grass fires which are moving fast. And yes, there will be the one or the other tree. And on the other hand, we also know that, for instance, redwood trees need fire for the cones to open and release the seeds. Otherwise, there are no new redwood trees. And that redwood trees are, quote unquote, built from their biology in Earth's wisdom to withstand fires, because fires are needed to release the cones. So they also don't want to burn down the forest, or Earth doesn't want the forest to burn down. So they are way more resilient towards fire than like a fir tree is, or a pine tree is. So where are we willing to ask questions and get out of our conclusions and assumptions?
Yes. And I would love to add something different about, yeah, name it recycling or renewing as our bodies also.
Mm-hmm.
The scientists says that 7 and 7 years, the cells of our skin and hair are also renewed. So yeah, isn't that the same? But because we consider it as that's normal, because that's part of our body, that's part of our existence, and it isn't that visible because it's going
Yeah.
during the day. And truth isn't it visible, like we lose several hairs per day, scabs of the skin. So yes, we can see it, but there is so that normality of life and existing. And this with the fires, what is the difference? Finally, is there a difference? As could it be that this part of the regenerating
Mm-hmm.
cycle of
Mm-hmm.
Earth?
Yeah. What if?
What if?
And what I want to say is, I don't think necessarily a lot of people are aware of our bodies renewing every 7 years. Like, I remember saying that to my father, who was a physician, and he said that that is total baloney.
Interesting.
So, how many people
So
really are?
is there also the resisting there of
Mhm.
resisting in receiving and acknowledging existing, resisting of the existing? Wow. And what is the energy also of this when we go as human fighting against nature? Are we saying at the same time nature, earth isn't existing? What do we deny there?
I may, um, okay, what's coming up for me is that on the one hand, we are not willing to acknowledge that Earth has consciousness.
Mm.
And what if we fighting against our body regenerating itself every 7 years, that we actually are making real our waiting for death to come at a certain age? Because that is what science says average lifespan is.
And at the same time, we separate us also from
Mhm.
our mother body, which is the earth.
Yeah. And we separate ourselves from our body.
Yes, yes, yes. Our body and mother
And,
body.
and the earth.
So the energy I perceive in a way is also the fight, not only the rightness and wrongness, but also the fight against
Mm-hmm. Or resistance, which is the same.
resistance. Is it truly the same, resistance and fighting? As for me, there is slightly a
Okay.
difference.
And I just got.
Because I can resist, but when I resist, I don't have to fight. It's not including the fight. When I fight, it includes the resistance, something like that.
What if I say resistance is the passive way versus fighting is an active way?
Yeah, 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 yeah. That feels really light. And isn't that what we are doing? Fighting.
What we love to do?
Yeah. And could it be also that it is also seen as the normal cycle when the summers are there or the temperatures are high, then almost humans attempt that the fires have to be there also, as they gonna fight against because they don't like it, because nature dies and people die. So it's conclusion about conclusion about conclusion about it's what is this energy? What is this energy, and what can perhaps we open here to unravel or to start unraveling the chain of assessing?
What is coming up for me is almost like we're fighting against what is because it shouldn't be, and therefore we're fighting for the rightness of our point of view.
And do we include with the fighting for the rightness of our point of view, includes it also that we are not willing to see that there are other possibilities, that nature, that earth has this consciousness?
You know, I would almost say if I'm fighting for the rightness of my point of view, then I'm convinced that this is so, and I'm not able to see anything that is different from there.
Yeah.
The ability to see something that is different requires not fighting for the rightness of my point of view.
Yeah, I get it. And what I come along also is the other side of the coin is when you are able to see other possibilities, and I can say I did it, in another lifetime, because for me that's a long time ago. But also there was some fight for the rightness of that other possibility, as more like in superior, as, oh, you stupid, you don't see that there is a lot more. So do you get it? It's also, we can go also going on with fighting for the rightness if we see other or more possibilities. So the question, asking questions, isn't that the thing or the tool that's getting us out of our point of views, whatever they are?
Yeah.
Because finally, a point of view, isn't it even a small side to the thing?
I mean, the way I look at point, and it's coming from somebody who was very opinionated. A point of view is basically having blinders on that I can barely see the tip of my nose.
Yeah.
And if I'm willing to open up those blinders, then what is possible?
Yeah. And
Oh,
also for coming back to the fires
mhm.
and the earth, and as the earth communicated with you as I'm still here, and I survived a lot worse than this. We have to be willing also to let go of so many points of views about that and about destroying. It's not only as we know, yeah. And in sickness, it's the same. People become sick and people will die through an illness or something else, but also people die in a car accident. Also, people die out of the blue, like with their hearts. There are so many ways of stepping out of the body, and at the same time, there are also so many point of views or fixed points of views of which kind of deaths are the right ones, the wrong ones,
Yeah,
the natural ones. You see,
yeah.
as and that brings me like, for example, when there is a car accident and it's really, when you see the cars, they are smashed up, and the one who was driving the car or the two people have, the two cars had had a driver, they survived.
Mm-hmm.
One with, yeah, severe injuries, and the other one is likely alive in a matter of speaking.
Hardly
So
anything. Yeah.
yeah, so that brought me often in the question of, hmm, the choice. Could it be the choice that
Yeah.
the choice of being alive, and even the choice of being alive and the choice of letting go of the body? As we see, we create everything. We create everything.
You
But
can,
are we willing to allow ourselves also to receive every creation and acknowledging that we also choose our death, perhaps the way we die, when we die?
I mean, my experiences actually both with my maternal grandmother and my father, I would put into the category that they chose to die. You know, just the way they died, that there was actually a choice. And having worked in hospice, I can really relate to what Dr. Zach Bush was talking about in a monologue about the, the contrast of birth and death. That death is nothing but the flip side of the same coin that birth is. They
Mm.
go together. And that if we don't make death wrong, it could be a beautiful experience
Yeah.
for everybody involved. And this making death wrong really stuck with me, and I've been sitting with the question. So if I look back at history in 1,000 years ago, death was part of nature. Death was absolutely normal. So what happened somewhere between death being normal and death being a wrongness?
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing, and I'm not saying that this is in any which way correct, but it could have some implication that when medicine came into the picture, our Western kind of medicine, because medicine nowadays consider death a wrongness, that you failed as a physician. And I'm aware of that through conversations with my dad. And so if you fail as a physician, that there is automatically a wrongness, and then that wrongness translates into the effect of the failure of the physician, meaning a human being dies, and therefore it becomes wrong.
Yeah.
And also looking at the fact, how much are we really working very hard on keeping people alive, that actually through the illness and everything made it, got close to death's door. And I remember Zach Bush talking about being an emergency room physician. He said, people told him, why the heck did you bring me back?
Mm-hmm.
And it really got him to think about, what are we doing? Why are we doing what we're doing?
Yeah. Yeah. And what if we could see also with those fires now, or all the fires at the other side of the coin, and questioning what is the new life
Mm-hmm.
behind, beyond, underneath this kind of death? Because, yeah, trees will be gone. And is it that they are gone? Or do they recycle in something different?
Native Americans didn't necessarily burn trees. They did burn grass in order to fertilize the soil. And
Yeah.
I would actually even like to expand that from just a fire to what happens in a tornado, what happens in a hurricane. There is also what we call destruction in the same way as a fire. But what if the destruction is also opening the door to new life?
Wow. Wow, Corinna. What this brings up for me now is, yeah, it's in the energy like wind. What we see here is when there are those big fires, often it's complicated by the wind turning in a second another way. So they think they control it, and then the wind changes. As what if that is the earth that says, no, it's not fine. It has to go on.
Yeah.
It has to go on. And in a hurricane, we don't have hurricane fighters. We have the firefighters, but we don't have the hurricane fighters. So, yeah. Wow. Wow, it's an energy
And it's
I'm going to speak to.
it's really from my sense, it's really so much the space from which we look at something and with which we see something. I just got aware when you said firefighter and not hurricane fighter. Firefighter originated with saving a house from a fire. And that is one space, but I can also look at from a way bigger space to what if more than just the house burns, like what is going on right now on the West Coast in the US. What is going on there? Where is death going into life and life going into death? And that is the continuous movement of life.
And there we are going through faster change on Earth with Earth. Like, what if really this is required now? As the Earth is aware, the Earth has its conscious, is
Mhm.
conscious by herself. How we are allowing ourselves to be open and receiving a future that we still can't put in words, in forms, in structures. What if we, in a matter of speaking, relax, not laying back as not doing, but what if we relax and be and asking questions, listening and going and being with the energy?
What I just, you know, we talk about climate change. We talk about the fact that the nature right now, or the ecosystems as they exist right now, cannot deal with a warmer climate. But we do not talk about what needs to change or how would it change. So a new ecosystem could be there that is able to deal with whatever the climate is going to be. And in all honesty, how long have we humans been on the earth and how old is the earth? And the earth hasn't gone through any climate changes, quote unquote. I mean, there's been the hot periods, there's been the ice ages, and even
Yeah.
how the ice ages contributed to the fall and the rise of empires and human migration. All of those things. Are we really willing to be present with that?
And isn't that the intelligence of the humans who wants to lead and control everything as coming to an end of all those changes as we got it right? So it has to be always the same from now on.
Hmm?
Oh, Corinna, I believe we hit it already our time.
We hit
So,
our time and maybe we hit on the subject for next week.
and maybe we hit, yeah,
We'll
because we can go on and on. Because we can go on and on and on. It's so
Oh, yeah.
interesting. And for me, for sure, it's also because I'm choosing it. I'm willing to be more conscious myself, but also acknowledging that my body has a consciousness, the earth has a consciousness, that everything has its consciousness. And yeah, it is the time. It is the time now to open us and be more with
Mhm.
everything. So I'm looking forward already for next week.
Me too. Yeah.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.